Okay, what's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Tony Deal. I'm originally from San Jose, California.
Okay.
People look at one instance and they look at the worst parts of it and they apply it to the whole. Most people that I met out here are very decent people. Some of them got stuck out here because of a situation. They were in an argument with the person who was paying for everything, and they decided that they weren't going to pay anymore, and they widn't know what they were going to do once they were stuck here. Most people intended to live here, but then fell short for whatever reason. I've been very blessed since I've actually been out on how many people are actually kind and thoughtful. So many people just come up and give me food and give me money. I thought, wow, every time it happens, I'm shocked. Now, I have to say, part of it is because I can keep myself up. Because if you can't, it becomes more and more difficult. Nobody wants to be around someone who smells like urine, right? Nobody wants to be next to somebody who makes them feel uncomfortable in any way. So I realize that, and I work at trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay.
The first step, once you get a homeless person to be able to stay clean, then they can progress. Once they get to where they're not clean, it's hard to get anywhere, right? You can't get a job. Nobody wants to interview you. Nobody even lets you in the building to be interviewed. People go, why don't they just get up, pull themselves up by their bootstraps? But bootstraps and how? And then once they're down, how are you supposed to get up? We've got to be a lot more thoughtful about how we spend our money. They say, well, look at this homeless. It's going to cost us how much? It's not going to cost you that much because the homeless people don't cost you that much in the first place. Really, they're really living themselves, and they really are living within their own means. And sometimes that means the means that they get from other people, the graciousness of other people.
What makes you happy in life?
It means being happy in life. I think mostly interactions with people. That's another thing. I tend to be introverted until someone breaks the ice. So being in Hawaii, it's really great because you have a lot of tourists here. And so people are generally friendly and open because they're here to have a good time. So they'll stop. I have conversations every day with people who are so thoughtful and interesting. And I love that. That's what I like doing anyway. Like what you're doing, I like interviewing people in a way, but it's not the same thing. It's almost, I like the conversations, the interaction with people.
With a stranger?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say when two strangers, you know, have a conversation and show mutual respect, that's such a beautiful thing.
It is.
What do we get wrong about homeless?
Ooh, so much. I think we need to do better as far as mental health because obviously most of the people out here that I've seen don't have mental issues, but the ones that do have really bad ones, and because of that, they are leading the perception that all homeless are like that, which is sad. So first off, I think we need to make sure that mental health is a top priority. But the problem we always have with doing it, because it's the same thing when they say about guns. They say, well, we have a mental health issue. It's not really a gun issue, blah, blah, blah. Well, the fact of the matter is, in this country, you can't force anybody to get mental health. And most people that are psychotic, and like a lot of the people here that are talking to themselves and having violent episodes are psychotic. And they don't like their medications. Their medications damp down all their thoughts and the way they work. They don't ever like to take the medicine. So it has to be a program where they are buddied, and mentored. I've always said if I ever got hit the lotto, a big lottery, I would like to open a homeless shelter and run it correctly, where you'd have not just a shelter with a bunch of room, have a decent place for people, studio apartments maybe. And for every 5 apartments, you'd have one person dedicated to counseling with them. Now, you can either accept the counseling or don't, but you'd have to do certain things to stay here. Those things would be simple. You must keep yourself clean. You must always cannot harass anyone else. And that's about it.
So we mentioned we've seen more divided now than we have as a country, than we have been in a long time. Um, What would you say to people that don't have much hope of us being able to get back to decency and looking at each other as fellow countrymen rather than enemies on different sides?
Well, I'd say first off, you're probably correct. I mean, sadly, it's hard work to keep a democracy going, and we have not ever had to work at it in our lifetimes. I've always thought for the last 20 or 30 years that we needed a new constitutional convention to reestablish what the Constitution is and whether we like it, whether we need to add to it to modernize it, because it is a 200 something, almost 300-year-old document. Well, nobody knows how to anymore. We're not even involved socially well enough to know how you get that started. Whereas a few hundred years ago, they knew exactly how to do it. As a matter of fact, it's been a long time since we've even added an amendment. Why is that? I mean, things have changed obviously enough that we need it.
A lot more, technology